thank you so much for having me, Mike. Really appreciate it, and super happy to finally be integrated with Streamline, obviously one of the biggest property management systems in the United States of America, or in the world, I want to say. So we're going to divide this presentation into two parts today. We're going to talk a bit about the seamless digital guest experience for scaling hospitality businesses. And then on the second part, we're going to talk a bit more about automating communication so that you can enhance efficiency in your day-to-day operations. So on that note, I'm going to start off with, why is a seamless digital guest experience in hospitality crucial nowadays? And for that, I'm going to take you back a bit more on the industry itself. So we know the vacation rental market is growing very fast. We've heard these numbers at VRMA, we've heard these numbers at different conferences, and we also know that the industry is professionalizing. We're no longer talking about just Airbnb or the OTAs. We're talking about actual businesses that have a brand and are professional. And this trend is increasing or has so over the past 2 years. The importance behind the guest experience, specifically this idea of a digital guest experience, comes from, over the past 2 years, this enhanced guest expectations. People are expecting hotel quality experiences in their vacation rentals. In fact, 54% of property managers mentioned that there were higher demands and more questions from guests over the last 2 years. And the industry is dealing with somewhat of a shortage of staffing while trying to give those guests a high quality experiences. Now, this can range from your check-in messages with your guests where they're asking more questions. This can range with just overall the services that they expect or where they're going to stay for their vacation or their business trip. It seems I have to click every time. So if you guys see me move my hand here, it's because my keyboard doesn't seem to be working. So again, the line between a vacation rental and a hotel is blurring. And this is an awesome quote that I love from a company called Holt that showcased one of their portfolio properties. And they were like, is it a boutique hotel? Is it an Airbnb apartment? I don't really like that term, maybe more vacation rental. Well, the answer is it's the best of both worlds. And that's because they offer quality services just like a hotel, but you're staying in a vacation rental. And that's just the real estate asset class, if you will. So in order to meet, and I'm probably going to minimize this here just so that we can see the whole slides. In order to meet these heightened guest expectations, what we've seen in the market over the past couple of years is this added solution. So operators are adding a lot of different one-size-fits-all solutions, which increases that fragmentation in your tech stack and just makes it really difficult for you to streamline, no pun intended, the guest experience. In fact, on average, property managers are using about 9 different technologies to manage the guest experience, and not all of those technologies speak to each other. So this is where Enso Connect comes in. We are looking at all of these different segments of your business, and we're going to start helping you centralize this with your property management system, but specifically towards the guest experience. So the next question is, how do well-designed digital guest experiences increase guest satisfaction and loyalty? Well, this idea of creating a digital experience for your guests will enhance the convenience for your staff. It will allow you to do data-driven personalization. We hear a lot about personalizing the guest experience, but what does that actually mean? Can you use the information that you're provided from your property management system, from your guest experience tools to personalize the experience? And of course, brand awareness. Showcase your business, showcase why your vacation rental business is unique. What does it look like? A practical implementation, if you will. So this is where I'm going to introduce Enso Connect. We are a guest experience platform for the vacation rental industry. What we help do is digitize and monetize the experience for your guests from the moment they inquire all the way to checkout and beyond. Diving more into this, we've built the most configurable guest experience platform on the market. And there's one core reason why we've done that, is because we understand that every vacation rental manager is different. Every owner is different. Every property management company is different. Every guest is different. So instead of building a one-size-fits-all system, let's find a way to connect, configure, and monetize your experience. In terms of the product itself and what we've done, we've built what we call a boarding pass. A boarding pass is a web app that we're going to send to your guests immediately at booking confirmation. And it's going to cover the entire journey. But using data, we've actually kind of assessed where we need to add certain checks and balances so we can help you make more money along the way and also navigate the guests so they ask less questions. And I'll dive into that section a bit more in the next couple of minutes, specifically around guest questions, because I'm sure all of you know how busy it gets. Let's put it that way. I was going to say frustrating, but it's part of the hospitality business. Let's say busy it gets when guests are asking so many questions before, during, and after their stay. So we're going to cover things like verification, check-in, smart locks, upsells, guidebooks, messaging, marketing, and verification is going to encompass things like ID collection, agreements, safety deposits, fees. Check-in is going to cover more around the smart locks, the instructions and step-by-steps, picture by picture. Upsells, which I'll dive into even further, is probably one of the most exciting parts of this industry, is realizing that there is so much more money to be made if you are able to personalize the experience. And of course, guidebooks, messaging, and marketing, aka communicating with your guests, all of the things that need to be communicated. From there, here's a little screenshot, kind of a little overview of the messaging piece. So, you've seen the guest side of things and what we're going to help your guest experience look like. But then, of course, it all comes down to what is it going to look like for me and my team? What am I going to be able to do using Streamline and Enso Connect's connection so that I can create that digital experience without having to add more steps, more fragmentation, more burden to my day-to-day operations? So I wanted to run through a quick live case study or some mini case studies. And of course, we're going to share the resource with all sorts of case studies on how we're able to help vacation rental managers. So think of this more as just overall some of the numbers behind Enso Connect. We've sent over 3.8 million messages to date, of which 72% are automated. We've helped operators double in size with 25% less guest service staff. And we've helped in some cases increase inquiry to booking conversion by 18.72%. Why? Because of our unified messaging system that has different capabilities to accomplish this. And of course, I'm going to dive a bit more in those capabilities and also make available the opportunity to book a demo with us and to learn more from our website. So here's an example of Jetstream that has accomplished just that. Through the upsells, we help you make more money. This is something that oftentimes feels like you need to put more effort in or start a whole new business to start monetizing your guest experience, but actually you can embed it as part of your day-to-day operations. Currently, 1 in 3 guests purchase at least one upsell. Now, this number is very, very basic because we haven't optimized it as much as I want to. And so we're actively working on getting those numbers up, but this is a cash return on investment of 7.2 times. Why? Because we lead the guests through the boarding pass to effectively, there's different touch points where they can effectively purchase different add-ons. This can be things like early check-ins, late checkouts, mid-stay cleanings, food delivery services, or even renting a car on Turo, where you can start making more money. And of course, we make your guest experience better. Instead of sending 8 different links to your guests or sending that long paragraph of messages that they don't respond to, and then they just respond back with, so how do I check in? Even though you responded to that exact question in that message, we're going to reduce that in one single link, connecting different tools that you might already be using and effectively reducing by 80% the number of questions around the check-in time. And right now, we've managed to reduce average response times across all different verticals by 25%. So make your guest experience better, make you more money, save you more time. All in all, if you want to learn more about some of the case studies and client success stories of Enso Connected users, you can go to ensoconnect.com/case studies. We have some amazing people there sharing their successes, whether it's they made more money, they saved some time, they were able to scale faster with Enso Connect. We are here to make that digital experience a real thing. And an easy thing to set up. That's the main thing is we want to make it as easy as possible for you to onboard and get the value as quickly as possible from Enso Connect. Our numbers at a glance, just to give you a bit more, we are a startup. We're an early stage company. We've been in the industry for about 2.5, 3 years. We are super excited to integrate with Streamline. This has been on our list since day one. And today we work with about 23,000 unique spaces, so vacation rental properties in 55 countries. And we've processed about 1.2 million guests, both through the boarding pass and our messaging system. So if you're hesitant, well, will my guests really go through a web app? Will they really want to communicate with me via SMS, email, WhatsApp, Airbnb message, and so on? The answer is yes. And we're going to help that communication flow be streamlined and effective for your guests. Our business model, just to give you a bit of an idea of how we're thinking about building Enso Connect as we continue to grow with Streamline, is really around how to help you scale, not grow, but scale. And for that, we're looking at automations and artificial intelligence to create faster support with your guests and therefore a better guest experience, as well as an efficiency gain that allows you to focus on getting more properties under management. The boarding pass, which is that unique app or web app, sorry, there's no downloads required. It's Apple Wallet compatible though. Will also enhance the guest experience. And I get really excited whenever I see guest reviews specifically about the boarding pass and them saying, oh, I use this thing called the boarding pass. This gets you better reviews. And of course, again, more properties under management. And then the upsells and the fees and all the revenue that you can generate is something that is done quickly and efficiently to get you more revenue per property, which attracts even more owners to join your business. So we're trying to focus on getting the average Enso Connect to double the number of properties they manage while reducing staff by 25%. And I know reducing staff kind of sounds scary, but it's also repurposing staff towards more profitable segments. This could be things like remarketing, focusing on driving more owner retention, or driving more direct bookings, whatever that might be. Now, the next part that I want to talk a bit more about is how do you automate communications for this enhanced efficiency? Obviously, it's easy to say when you have some sort of messaging tool, whether it's a mobile app, whether it's Enso Connect, whether it's on Streamline, whatever tools you might be using, I want to kind of showcase more our thinking about automation, AI, and enhanced efficiencies. So this is a quick screenshot of the Enso Connect Unified Inbox, which is part of the solution, which is kind of think of it as your control dashboard or CRM for your guests that allows you to do your day-to-day, schedule messages, text, email, WhatsApp, look at the different verification steps that the guests have gone through the boarding pass, see any upsells that they may have purchased and automatically tag the guests accordingly. It's about extracting the information from all of the tools that you already have, love, and use. So things like Streamline, but it can also be your verification tools. It could be your upsell systems, your payment systems, et cetera, to effectively know who is Tina Flanders. Now, I know that these are high fidelity prototypes, so it does says father, hiker, and test as an example. It's probably not accurate here, but just to give you a bit of an insight on what it looks like, what it would feel like to operate on Enso Connect. We do have a mobile app as well, so you can do all this on the go. As part of our solution as well, what we do is we'll connect your tech stack. So in this case, Streamline's property management system. We can connect your smart locks, your verification tools, your upsells and cross-sell systems, your payment systems, guidebooks, local services like Uber, OpenTable, GoToCharge, Viator, and a loyalty system very soon to drive more of that loyalty. So we're going to connect all of these tools together. We're going to extract all of that information, and we're going to go with a very, very basic principle. Pick your when something happens. If a condition is met, then do something about it. How does this work? I'll give you a few practical examples. Within your boarding pass, I want to showcase image instructions of my parking spot, but I only want to showcase those images when the guest has paid the parking fee. So I'm going to say, when the guest has paid their parking fee, then instead of sending a message, I want to show the images of the parking instructions. And we're going to use this concept of if this, then that across the entire board as we configure your guest experience. So through our guest journey editor, every stage of your guest journey, booking confirmation, pre-check-in, during their check-in, during their stay, checkout, post-stay, we're going to go with these concepts of when something happens, whether it's because of the guest, because of me as the operator, because of the device, or because of a booking, whatever that might be. If a specific condition has been met, then I want to digitize the experience in a different way. What we learned by bringing this to the market is originally a lot of operators have are trying to create basic automations. You know, here's my pre-check-in message, here's my check-in instructions, but there's so many edge cases. There's so many cases where you have to skip something or something fails and you have to change your processes. So we're here to create these workflows across the board that aren't just messaging based, that can also be functionality based through the web app that we provide your guests and that are going to cover as many of these cases as possible. And one of my favorite ones that I love sharing with operators on demos or calls, and I always instruct our sales team to share this one as well, is using some of our AI functionalities, which I'll dive into in a bit here. We track the sentiment of all guest communications happening between, the operator, the service provider, and the guest. And we rank all of your guests between unsatisfied and highly satisfied. It's a ranking out of 5. And when I was staying in a hotel, I saw this person write down a few guest names on this red Post-it, and I asked a couple questions, and this front desk agent was basically telling me, oh, this is a list of guests that were really unhappy, and we're going to send a little bottle, and we're going to make sure this and this and that. And I figured, well, why don't we say when the guest checks out, if the sentiment of the conversation and of the guest is better than neutral, is highly satisfied, is somewhat satisfied, then remind the guest to leave a review. Let's not ask the unhappy guests to leave a review. Let's ask all the happy ones so we can maximize our review score. And so throughout the past 2.5, 3 years, our team, as I like to call them, guest experience architects, we found all these niche ways of digitizing your experience with your guests and really streamlining those operations. And so integrating with a PMS like Streamline makes perfect sense, because we can get you to that next level of scale to grow the number of listings as you create these different segments. Another example of where we're going to surface out more information is going to be on the latest update to Enso Connect, one which will be made available for all users by the end of this month, which is a full integration of ChatGPT. So this integration allows you to effectively generate automated responses within your own tone. It also allows you to create content. So very basic integration for that. It's just going to be creating guidebooks, creating upsells, creating descriptions for different segments of your business. But what I'm really excited about is all the indexing that we've been doing for messaging. So give you a bit of an idea of how it works. I was hoping to give you a demo today, but unfortunately, we're going to have to wait off until the end of the month, as engineering has said. And the way it works is we're going to ask this little bot, if you will, the question. We're going to look into Streamline, what information Streamline is able to share, which is quite a bit. So things like, your check-in time, listing information, property information, and so on. And we're going to continuously ask questions to the bot until we get you the best response ever. And then all you need to do is click one click and send it off. So this is really helpful if you have a team of VAs and you want to make sure that they kind of follow the same style of communication. And it's also a great way to increase efficiency with your messaging. So in a nutshell, Enso Connect is the guest experience platform that covers unified messaging, the guest web app, as well as a CRM, which I won't dive too much into today, for post-stay remarketing via SMS, via email, and via different channels. And we plug in seamlessly with Streamline certain data that we sync two-way, and will help you create that digital experience. I wanted to share as well a bit about us, just so that you guys know who we are in the industry. I know I may seem young. I am a bit young, probably from other CEOs that you may have seen out there. So my name is Francois. I'm one of the co-founders. My background was as a student at the University of Toronto. I had an interesting stay, let's say, in a chalet up north in Mont-Tremblant that led me to create the solution of digital experiences, and was then, fueled by the pandemic. We've built a team of amazing, amazing people, from Nicholas, who is former AJL Atelier, Drew, who's actually former Aperto and Rule as well, Nick from Shopify, Sasha from Dash, Bart from TripStack, Oscar from Strategic Coach. And so really the team that we've built is a bunch of hustlers that are trying to execute on this vision of helping you guys digitize and monetize your guest experience. On top of that, we have some amazing backers as well, whether it's on the board side of things. We've got a great fund that's been helping us out. We've raised just under $4 million to date, as well as one of our board members. You may have heard the name Smart Things, although that's getting phased out these days, which is one of the big smart device companies out there, and some really cool advisors. From former Airbnb employees, my favorite Andrew from Wheelhouse, and I put back the logo Lyric because it is now back up and running. So congrats to Andrew for that. Evan from Adaptive, I know he's been very much looking at a lot of Streamline users, so some of you may have heard of him. And Sai, a Y Combinator, Nest, more smart home devices on that segment. So that's a bit about Enso Connect and Streamline. I did want to open it up for more time on Q&A than ever. Yeah, that's Enso Connect in a nutshell, how we help you digitize and monetize your experience. Mike, should I open it up for questions?
Sounds good. Yeah, great job, man. Francois, I almost called you Enso.
Yeah, some people will write it down as Enzo with a Z. And I like to say, whenever someone says, well, what's the name behind Enzo? Enzo is a circle that is hand drawn in one uninhibited brushstroke to express a moment when the mind is free to let the body create. It's a Zen symbol.
Ooh.
It means you're at peace. It's a Zen symbol. Yeah. Some people will spell it with a Z, and I have to correct them and say, we are not Enzo Ferrari, although we do move that fast when it comes to building tech. So that's my little sideline joke there. But I'll stop sharing my screen here just so I can see full screen and open up the Q&A. So, oh my goodness, I see so many questions already. Awesome. Can we group text housekeepers? For example, we need a thread with 2 housekeepers plus us in the office. So we focus purely on the guest messaging for now. You can create automations to send messages to your housekeepers or to anyone on your staff for different rules. So when something happens, send a notification, but we focus primarily on the interaction with guests, not necessarily internal communications. We are looking at that right now, though, to see if it's something that we could develop to create multiple inboxes for internal communications as well. I hope that answers your question, Jasmine, but thank you so much for sharing. Another question from Jasmine, do you have a limitation on number of automated or manual texts to, from, guests, and subcontractor pricing? Ooh, I'm going to split that off as 2 separate questions. So limitations on number of automated manual texts, not at all. You can send as many as you want. In fact, we don't even have limitations on character count. So if you need to send longer text messages, you absolutely can. You can also send pictures via SMS if you want. And we do email, where we can connect your real email. That way, you're not sending emails from an @Enso Connect email. You can send it from your @business email. If a random person so happens to text that number, it might be a friend of a guest who's trying to get more information. You will receive that message in our inbox. And if someone calls that number, you can redirect it to whatever phone number you want. As for pricing, it ranges anywhere between $5 to $20 per month per listing, depending on the number of properties that you have, and will encompass the boarding pass as well as the messaging. It's kind of a combined package, but this is where the upsell component comes in and really helps out. How do we differ from IKEA? IKEA is a really good company. It's a bit more hotel focused, I would say, than vacation rental focused. So we're way more into configuration. We understand the concept of listings rather than rooms. We have similar functionalities when it comes to messaging, but when it comes to the boarding pass, we're going to navigate the guests through a specific flow rather than sending many apps and disrupting the interaction with the guests. This kind of helps you force the paths that might be less common in the hotel space, but are more common in vacation rentals. You know, things like house rules, agreements, safety deposits, ID collection. These are going to be less important in hotels and are going to be more important in the vacation rental segment. And, you know, unfortunately, guests really don't care about your house rules and your ID collection and your safety deposit. All they want is your check-in instructions. So it's just a different way of navigating the guests through that. Onboarding is also more structured around vacation rentals, making it easier for you to add properties without having to recreate content every time. I hope that answers the question. But IKEA is an awesome company. I always like to talk positively about competitors because we're all trying to help within that segment of digitizing and monetizing your experience.
And I think these companies will be pushing each other hard in the next 5 years, which is important because the follow-up is like, what's unique about this? These companies are adding in AI into the solution. They're basically enhancing what's already out there. So, you know,
100%.
it's the same problem that's been out there for a long time, but it hasn't really evolved in the ways that it's dealt with. So what you're going to see from these companies is really going to be something special in the next year or two.
100%. And, you know, to the anonymous attendees point of like, I've already seen this isn't unique, et cetera. Like the AI component around being able to draft responses with way more accuracy than just a regular chat bot. I think that's something that you will not see in many companies. I think in terms of onboarding as well, being able to set up properties as you grow quicker is going to be the core differentiator here. And then this concept of if this, then that, not applied just to your messaging. That's been the case in many systems out there, of course. You know, when a guest sends, when the guest booking is confirmed, send a confirmation message. Obviously, Streamline has that capability, and many other systems can do a basic trigger. It's going to be more in the granularity of the data that you have. So things around your upsells. What happens when a guest purchases or wants to purchase an early check-in? What do you currently do? Do you check the systems, the cleaning tools to make sure that the property is available? Do you do that manually, or do you do that automatically? Do you send a message following up if it's not available? Do you do that manually or automatically? So we're going to go in that more granular level. But I appreciate the challenge, anonymous attendee. And Jasmine, another question here. Based on marketplace booked, we may or may not be merchant of record. We may or may not require guests to sign rental agreement. Can we set rules in your system to send or not send a particular text message based on marketplace, and if paid in full or rental agreement is applicable? Absolutely. Again, this is a perfect example of an edge case. You know, because you can configure the guest journey at a listing level, at a listing group level, or at an all listings level, and add these types of conditions, you can say, well, if it's this particular booking channel, I want to run a different type of guest experience. If it is this booking channel and it is this particular tag on the guest, I want to have this type of a rental agreement. So you can configure everything, I want to say, not just by properties, but also by guests, which is one of the latest updates that we've made to our platform a couple of weeks ago. So going back to that idea of hopefully being one of the most configurable guest experience platforms out there and connecting with the tools you have. Yeah. So yeah, I seem to have answered.
I was going to say, I can't wait to see how AI helps refine the targeted upsell for guests and converts more. And it's really going to be an exciting few years in this space.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this has been our role the past year. When we launched upsells, we launched it as a very basic kind of store. And when we saw the conversion of how much money some operators could make, we put a lot of engineering resources towards figuring out when is the best time to upsell this? Where should we place it within our web app? How do we design it? How do we create the right pop-ups to convert better? And we're constantly iterating on that so that we can make you more money, as simply put as that. I mean, I have an operator who pays me $500 a month. I was at a conference. He came up to me. He's like, hey, I use your system. Just wanted to thank you. I make $3,000 a month. And I was just like, oh, okay, nice to meet you. So it all depends on, of course, what you want to upsell. But in this case, I was surprised to see that it was just the top 3 early check-ins, late checkouts, and mid-stay cleanings. So if that's something people are currently doing, I'm sure they are doing it manually. How can you do this at scale automatically is going to be, again, one of our key focuses here.
For sure. Short and sweet.
I love it. Yeah, I'm a bit under time here. I'm a fast speaker. I don't know if I should share a bit more about maybe the next few months and years with Enso Connect and what this partnership is going to look like. But if you have any questions, Mike, I don't want to put you on the spot here, but.
Yeah, it looks like Jasmine had a follow-up question, but maybe you can set up a time to send her some information. You'll get her contact information if that's okay, Jasmine.
Yeah, 100%. I'll share a bit more about how we can jump into a demo if ever anyone wants to learn more about the platform. It's quite easy. We share our pricing publicly, so you can see that on our website. We're going to be launching a video demo as well on our website very soon. My goal is to make it as easy as possible for you to make that decision before you speak with one of our representatives or one of our salespeople. And you can always book a demo. My personal email, firstname.lastname@ensoconnect.com. You can reach out to me anytime. I am not one of those fancy CEOs who doesn't speak to clients ever. I always love to speak to clients. In fact, I'm setting up office hours now on Fridays. So you can reach out to me anytime if you have questions about the platform, the guides, and so on. More than happy to share more.
He even talks to me at shows. So that shows you how low his bar is to talk to people.
No, are you kidding me?
Onboarding time.
But yeah.
How quickly can you onboard someone real quick?
Oh, how quickly can we onboard? Oh, yeah, I didn't even see that. So we can onboard. So the average right now is 7.2, 7.3 days, 11.2 across all newer PMSs, Streamline being a part of that group. Really depends on the amount of properties that you have. If you have, less than 10 properties, I'll say an hour or two. If you have 500 properties, it'll take you more like a week or two to set up, about the time that you put in. But as you may have seen from my screen, we have a guest journey editor. So it's really just walking you through step by step what your guest experience is going to look like. My goal over the next 6 months is to make this self-onboarding so that we purely have account management resources and not onboarding resources. So I can assure you that is a key focus of the company. And how much of the setup will you do for us? Guides, templates, routing. We have everything templated. When it comes to guidebooks, because of the ChatGPT integration, you can basically build guides with a sentence. You can tell it what you want it to say. So we're not building those guides for you because we operate in 55 countries and I don't really know how many locations at this point. We can't be building guides yet for everyone, but you can just GPT and build a guide instantly in the platform.
Cool.
So yeah.
All right. Well, appreciate
Thanks,
your time.
Jasmine.
Any
Really
last-
appreciate all the questions.
Yeah, I was gonna say, any last words before we sign off, Francois?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, other than if you have questions, feel free to reach out. Really happy, really stoked to be partnered with Streamline. And I think the audience here, you guys are going to see a lot of outtakes from this from numerous clients. So looking forward to working with you, Mike, and all the people attending this webinar.
We appreciate it. No, dog walking back and forth in the background was not a bad little
A little office Murphy. There we
cool.
go.
All right. Take care, everyone.
Cool. Appreciate it. Thank you.